Ever notice how you've been saying, "I'm just stressed" for weeks now, but something feels different this time? That persistent heaviness that follows you from morning till night might not be ordinary stress after all. In today's video, we're breaking down 10 warning signs that separate everyday stress from clinical depression. By minute 3, you'll understand why that constant exhaustion and those racing thoughts might deserve more attention than you've been giving them. Meet Sarah. Each morning for the past few months, she's been hitting the snooze button a few more times than usual. As a marketing manager with a jam-packed schedule, she chalked it up to being busy. "It's just a stressful time at work," became her daily mantra as project deadlines loomed and client expectations mounted. But what started as a reasonable explanation gradually became something else entirely as weeks turned into months with no relief. The line between everyday stress and depression can be surprisingly blurry. Most of us recognize when we're stressed. We feel overwhelmed, anxious, and stretched thin, but we can usually point to specific causes. Depression, however, creeps in more subtly, disguising itself as prolonged stress until it's deeply entrenched in our daily experience. Sarah's story isn't unusual. Research shows that a staggering 68% of people with depression initially misattribute their symptoms to stress or fatigue. This widespread misinterpretation often delays proper treatment by months or even years. Like many others, Sarah dismissed the warning signs as simply part of a demanding career phase. The first warning sign Sarah missed was persistent sadness that wouldn't lift, even when good things happened. While normal stress typically eases when positive events occur, like when Sarah landed a major client, her feeling of heaviness remained unchanged. When her team celebrated their quarterly success with drinks after work, she found herself forcing smiles and excusing herself early. With clinical depression, these emotional states become disconnected from external circumstances. Have you noticed unexplained physical discomfort that doesn't seem connected to any specific injury? This was warning sign number 2 for Sarah. Mysterious backaches, frequent headaches, and stomach issues that persisted regardless of her stress management attempts. Unlike normal stress-related tension that improves with massage or relaxation, these physical symptoms stubbornly remained. Sarah's primary doctor ran tests but found nothing conclusive, suggesting it might be just stress. What her doctor missed was how these physical symptoms are often manifestations of depression, reflecting how our mental and physical health are intrinsically connected. Sleep disruptions formed warning sign number 3. While stress might cause occasional restless nights, Sarah's sleep patterns changed dramatically over time. Some weeks she could barely stay awake after dinner, sleeping 10+ hours yet waking unrefreshed. Other weeks, she'd lie awake until 3 a.m., mind racing with thoughts she couldn't quiet. This inconsistent pattern differed from the occasional poor night's sleep that comes with normal stress and signaled something more significant was happening. "I used to be the decisive one in meetings," Sarah told her friend over coffee one day. "Now I spend 20 minutes debating what to order for lunch." This difficulty with concentration and decision-making represents warning sign number 4. While stress might make us temporarily scatterbrained, depression causes persistent cognitive issues psychologists call brain fog. Sarah found herself staring at simple emails for hours, unable to formulate responses. Tasks that once took minutes now consumed her entire day, and small decisions felt impossibly complex. Sarah's breaking point came during her nephew's birthday party. Surrounded by celebration and loved ones, she realized she couldn't remember the last time she felt genuinely happy. Not just distracted from sadness, but actually happy. This awareness hit her with startling clarity. The joy she once felt routinely now seemed like a distant memory. This realization highlights the critical difference between stress and depression, persistence and functional impact. Stress typically fluctuates based on circumstances and rarely affects all areas of life simultaneously. Depression, however, persists regardless of external factors and gradually erodes functioning across multiple life domains. For Sarah, What began as work-related stress had silently expanded until it touched every aspect of her life: relationships, physical health, cognitive abilities, and her fundamental capacity to experience pleasure. Depression doesn't just change how we interact with the world, it fundamentally alters our internal experience. What would you do if your favorite activity suddenly felt as appealing as watching paint dry? This phenomenon, called anhedonia, affects nearly 85% of people with depression and signals something far more concerning than just losing interest in your hobbies. Meet Michael, a 28-year-old high school English teacher whose story reveals how our thoughts become powerful indicators of the line between stress and something much more serious. For years, Michael was known for his optimism and creativity. He played guitar in a local band on weekends, coached the debate team after school, and maintained an active social life. But something shifted so gradually that neither he nor his friends noticed until it had completely transformed his inner world. I kept telling myself I was just tired from the semester, Michael explains. But looking back, I can see how my thinking had completely changed. Michael's thoughts had become his enemies, launching constant attacks on his self-worth and distorting his perception of reality. The first mental warning sign appeared when Michael's cherished guitar began gathering dust in the corner of his apartment. What psychologists call anhedonia had set in, a complete loss of pleasure in activities he once loved. This isn't just about having less time for hobbies. When Michael forced himself to pick up his guitar, the notes that once brought joy now sounded hollow and meaningless. This wasn't simple disinterest. His brain's reward system had fundamentally changed, making it impossible to experience satisfaction. Are you noticing yourself abandoning activities that once defined who you are? This isn't about natural changing interests. It's about the absence of any pleasure at all. The second mental warning sign emerged through Michael's internal dialogue. I started believing I was a terrible teacher, he says. One student would look bored, and I'd convince myself my entire career was a failure. This feeling of worthlessness represents another critical difference between stress and depression. While stress might make you doubt a specific performance, depression generates excessive, inappropriate guilt about things beyond your control. Do you find yourself ruminating over past mistakes that others have long forgotten? Has your inner critic grown so loud it drowns out any positive feedback? Perhaps the most alarming mental warning sign appeared in Michael's changing relationship with his future. I stopped making plans, he recalls, not just vacation plans. I couldn't even decide what to eat tomorrow. This wasn't simple indecision. Michael had developed passive thoughts about death. I wouldn't mind if I didn't wake up tomorrow, became a regular thought. These aren't necessarily active suicide plans, but they signal a dangerous shift in thinking that requires immediate attention. The social withdrawal came next. Michael began declining invitations, letting calls go to voicemail, and creating elaborate excuses to avoid interactions. It wasn't that I didn't like my friends anymore, he explains. Being around them just required energy I didn't have. Unlike occasional needs for alone time, this isolation became Michael's default state. His personality changed too. The once patient teacher now found himself snapping at students over minor classroom disruptions. Small frustrations triggered disproportionate anger responses, a pattern distinctly different from stress-related irritability because it persisted regardless of circumstances and appeared without warning. Finally, Michael's view of the future transformed completely. I couldn't imagine things getting better, he says. Not just certain situations, anything. This pervasive hopelessness represents the culmination of depression's cognitive changes, creating a mental prison where improvement seems impossible. What makes these mental warning signs so important? They reveal that depression isn't just feeling sad. It's a fundamental alteration in how your brain processes information and rewards. When anhedonia sets in, your brain's mesolimbic pathway, the system responsible for experiencing pleasure, has been compromised. You haven't simply lost interest. Your neural capacity to experience joy has been temporarily rewired by depression. So after recognizing these warning signs, both Sarah and Michael took that crucial step toward healing. Their journeys remind us that recovery isn't just possible, it's probable when we seek help. Research shows that treatment can boost recovery rates from just 20% to an impressive 80%. That's the power of reaching out. Remember that women experience depression symptoms more frequently than men, about 24.5% compared to 18%, but everyone deserves support regardless of gender. Mental health professionals recommend seeking help if your symptoms last longer than 2 weeks, interfere with daily life, or include thoughts of self-harm. Don't wait until you're absolutely certain something's wrong. If you need immediate support, resources like the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-TALK, and Crisis Text Line, text HELLO to 741741, are available right now. The difference between struggling with depression alone versus getting help isn't just about terminology. It's about reclaiming your life and rediscovering joy again.